Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram. So in the last class we saw that after listening to the spiritual discourse and the instructions of the teacher, of the guru, the disciple experienced the samadhi for the first time. And in those verses, in the nutshell, what we find, that he speaks of some of the experiences, the feelings which he experiences. One is the idea of the non-locality, that the amness is, he's still there, he still is aware of his existence, but it has almost lost its locality. It is something all-pervasive experience. So that's one thing, and that again is not something imaginary. He speaks with conviction. So even we find in this William James book that there's the history of religions. When he's studying all the religions, he finds that all the religions, the commonality is in the experience. Those who go to the experience, their experience is something he terms as noetic and ineffable. Noetic means that they speak of something which is with conviction. Just the way when I see something, I see a flower, I know the flower is there. So when a man of realization goes to that spiritual illumination, he comes back and speaks with that type of conviction, that he has realized something which is not mere imagination, which is not a mere mental conjecture. That he has realized, experienced something, and there is no doubt about it. So that's a noetic. And all that experience is associated with bliss, and that bliss is something which is ineffable, that which cannot be described. It is something which is beyond description, which is experienceable, but which cannot be described. So that's all we saw, that the disciple through all those various verses is trying to express his realization. So now comes the disciple's words of gratitude to the Guru for having guided him towards this wonderful experience. So first he was praying as an artha, that he is tormented by the dualities of life, by the sufferings of life, and he wants to go beyond that. That was his prayer we saw in the initial verses. And now we see that again he is showing his respect to the Guru, but now he is no more artha, he is no more afflicted. He is kritakritya. His life goal has been attained. He is fulfilled forever, never to have any more desires. Kritakritya. He feels that what has to be done has been done once for all. So with that being a kritakritya, by attaining that state of illumination, now he is full of that gratitude. That out of gratitude now he speaks these words of gratitude to his Guru. So in the 486th verse we see what the disciple is stating, was relating to his Guru. Namo namaste gurave mahatmane vimukta sangaya sat uttamaya nityadvaya ananda rasaswarupine bhumne sada aparadaya ambudhamne. So repeated salutations to thee. Namo namaste. That's repeated again and again. I salute to thee. To whom? To my noble teacher, Gurave, O my noble teacher, my repeated salutations to you, to thee. And who is that Guru? The one who is Vimukta Sangaya, who is liberated from all Sangha, all attachment. Vishesha Rupena Mukta. He is liberated in totality, without any trace of ignorance remaining. From what? From all Sangha, from all attachment. Vimukta Sangaya, Sat Uttamaya. Uttama means a good person. Sat Uttama means the best among the good souls. So you are the best among all those who are noble souls. So you are the best among them. So that's why you are Sat Uttamaya. And then Nitya Advaya Ananda, Nitya Advaya Ananda Rasaswarupine. That you are the embodiment of the essence of that eternal bliss. Which bliss? The bliss which comes by realizing the one without the second. The absolute reality. The one without the second. He is of the nature of bliss. And that bliss is something which is eternal. Nitya. So Nitya Advayananda Rasaswarupine. So he is the embodiment of the essence of that eternal bliss, which is one without the second, and who art infinite. The word Bhuma, Bhumne. Bhumne is the word which came from Bhuma. Bhuma means something which cannot be limited by the time-space causation, which is infinite. So that's Bhuma. So Alpa's opposite is Bhuma. Alpa means something small, Bhuma means something which is beyond limitation, which is infinite. So he is the one who is infinite. He is saying his Guru as the infinite. Why? Because he has attained that Brahman. Once you attain that state, then all your limitation falls off. So he is the Bhuma, he is Bhumne. Sada, and in spite of the fact that he is that one with the Absolute, he is of eternal bliss, but still out of that boundless mercy, ocean of mercy. So he comes down to instruct all those who are in this ignorance. So Sada Aparadaya Ambu Dhamne. Ambu means ocean. Aparadaya means the who has no para, that is without any shore, boundless. Para means shore. Apara means denying, that which has no shore. The ocean without any limitation, without any bounds. So such is his his mercy. So Sada Apara Aparadaya Ambu Dhamne. So that he is ever the ocean of boundless mercy. So such is the Guru. So these are the characteristics which has been spoken of in this verse as the characteristics of Guru. So this Namo Namaste Gurave Mahatmane, it starts with this. So we will find in the beginning of the Vivekachudamani, in verse 35 we studied that the disciple has approached the Guru and he bows down and implores to save him from the ocean of birth and death. He is imploring, he is praying, and now again he is bowing down. At the beginning we saw he is bowing down to his Guru, and now again we are seeing he is bowing down. But now it's with a deep sense of gratitude. In the beginning it was just he was imploring to save him from the ocean of birth and death, and now he has already attained that by the help of his Guru. So now he is bowing down with a deep sense of gratitude for his Guru, for having saved him from drowning in the ocean of sorrow. So we find that in the beginning the disciple was Artha. Artha means one who is afflicted and distressed. And now he is Kritartha. He is fulfilled. He has done what has to be done. Nothing remains to be done. So he is Krita Artha, fulfilled. So then he is characterizing his Guru with certain traits. What are the traits? That he is Vimukta Sangaya. Vimukta Sangaya. He is free from all attachments. That speaks of no selfish motive. That he is helping others out of unbound compassion. There is no selfish motive for wealth, for name, fame, nothing. Just out of compassion. Sada aparadaya ambudhamne. That because of compassion. So he keeps that compassion. That's the only mental module he keeps so that he can come down to instruct the humanity in the path of realization. So that is out of his compassion. And that speaks of his total non-attachment. He is totally detached from all selfish motives. And he is Sat Uttamaya, the best among the noble ones. Why is the best among the noble ones? That anyone who can go beyond the ego. How can we can go beyond the ego? We can transcend our ego by giving importance to others. Paropakaraya punyaya papaya parapiranam. That one who that always is ready to help others, he is a noble person. He doesn't give importance to his own self. That is secondary. That others' welfare is primary for him. He is always there to help him. Now help can be of various type. One who is hungry, I feed him. That is also a type of help. One who is not educated in the ways of life, we give them academic education. That is also help. So there are so many ways we can help. And here we find the Guru has delivered the spiritual knowledge which has enabled the disciple to go beyond all the so-called ignorance. That also is a help. But which help is the greatest? The Swamiji in his works is saying that this imparting knowledge is a greater help than just giving some physical help. Why? That if some person is hungry, if I feed him, his hunger is appeased just for a day. Next day again he will be hungry. But if I educate him in the art of agriculture, cultivation, agriculture, then his hunger is gone forever. He can produce his own food. So knowledge is better than physical help. And the spiritual knowledge, that removes all our needs forever. That we become kritartha. When we get established in the self, I know that I have as such no need. I exist by my own right through eternity. And I am ever in bliss. So I have become kritartha. There is no need for me anymore. So that has removed all my needs forever. So that's the greatest help. So that's why those who help, they are all good. But why the Guru has been said Sat Uttamaya? Because his gift is the greatest gift. So he is the best among the noble ones because the gift of spiritual wisdom is the greatest gift. Nothing can be of greater value than the gift of the spiritual knowledge. So that's why he is Sat Uttamaya. And then he is mentioning his Guru as Nittadvaya Ananda Rasaswarupine Bhumne. Now these are the characteristics. These are what which defines the ultimate reality, the Brahman. The Brahma is Nitya, he is Advaya, the non-dual, he is bliss. His of nature is bliss. Then why Guru has been spoken of as Nitya Advananda? Because our scripture says Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. The knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. So the Guru, by realizing Brahman, has become identified with Brahman. The knower of Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. So all the things which characterize the ultimate reality is the characteristic of the Guru as he has went to that realization. So that's how he's showing his gratitude to his Guru. Full of respect, full of awe. to that magnanimous personality. And then what he's saying in the 488 verse, Dhanya aham, kritakritya aham, vimukto aham, bhavagrahat, nityananda swarupa aham, purnah aham tvat anugrahat. Dhanya aham. So I am blessed. Kritakritya aham. I have attained the ultimate fulfillment of life. Krita kritya. Kritya means the things which has to be done. Krita means that has already been done. What I have to do has been done. Krita kritya. So I am krita kritya. I have attained that ultimate fulfillment of life. And then I am free from the clutches of transmigration. Vimukta aham bhava grahat. Graha is actually crocodile. This world, like crocodile, has engulfed us. So this knowledge has enabled me to get rid of the crocodile called this world, of this worldly existence. So I am free from the clutches of this transmigration. This word speaks of transmigration, life after life. We are transmigrating. So once I attain that knowledge, that process of transmigration stops. So that's why I am free from the clutches of transmigration. Vimuktaham bhavagrahat. And then that he has also went to that realization. So as we were saying, Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. And that's his realization. He has also become now Nityananda Swarupa. I am the essence of eternal bliss. Aham Nityananda Swarupa. Nitya Ananda. Ananda which is Nitya, eternal. There is no interruption in it. And that's my nature. It's not something I have acquired. I find I am of the nature of bliss. That's why Nityananda Swarupa has been used. And I am infinite. Purno Aham. Purna Aham. And all this has happened through your grace. All through thy grace. Tvat anugrahat. So this is the idea that I have attained a state where there is no return. No return means I am no more bound in this cycle of transmigration. That why we are bound in this cycle of transmigration? Because of this aham. Aham. This ego. As we have described so many times, that how we get bound in this cycle of transmigration. That the ultimate non-dual reality, when it gets associated with the body-mind complex, then what happens? That generates the ego. The self reflected in the body-mind complex, the reflection is the ego. And that ego is something like the echo of the self through the body-mind complex. It's the echo. What's the echo like? What is an echo? When I am standing in front of the mountain and I am shouting my own name, I feel as if someone is calling me from the mountains. My own sound is echoed back, and it gives me a delusion that as if someone from the mountains is calling me. And that's what happened with the self. In a small micro body, when the self is getting associated with that, the self asserts, I am eternal, I am ever fulfilled. And the echo comes back from the body-mind complex. I am eternal, I am ever fulfilled. Something within is constantly saying, asserting, I am eternal, I am ever fulfilled. But I find that the body-mind complex, something inside is saying I am eternal, is the echo of the self. And I take that to be the self. And I find that body-mind complex is not eternal. That it has to be nourished to sustain itself. And if its conditions are not favorable, it degenerates. And even if there is nothing harming it, there is no toxic thing in it, The natural process of decay and death is something common to all the living beings. But something within is saying you're eternal. And this, to realize this eternity through the body-mind complex, which is a delusion. The self is already eternal. Its reflection through the body-mind self is creating that echo. And I take that echo to be that real. And I try to realize that echo through the body-mind complex. And that's how the process of transmigration starts. How? That even a small microbe, what it finds, that a little change in the parameters of the nature, a little more heat, a little more, moisture, or a little lack of nutrients, it causes its disintegration. It dies. So it's struggling against the nature. The echo which is coming from within your eternal, to realize that it is constantly struggling with the nature to realize the eternity through the body-mind complex, which has resulted in the biological evolution. How? Just from a microbe to the human being. How the evolution has happened? You'll find that the cell starts conglomerating so that they can equip themselves better to fight with the nature. There's a symbiosis. They come together. And then what they do? There is a sharing of all the bodily activities, the biological activities. Previously, the single cell was doing everything. Digestion, respiration, assimilation, reproduction, everything that single cell was doing. And now it becomes a conglomerate, and there's a division of labor. See, just in the human being, such a fine, complicated an organism with trillions of cells, with so many organs, all having a specialized duty. Why? That through the process of evolution, we were fighting against the nature to realize that echo which is coming from within, that you are eternal. With all our advancement in the human society, at last we will find that why this science, technology, all this advancement? Just to have a better life, just to have a longer life and a more, a pleasurable life. That's what all our technology is after all meant for. So that's the eternal chase for eternity, which has resulted in all this advancement. From the morning till the night, whatever we are resorting to in the form of the technological advancement, it all speaks of our, this sustainability. How I can sustain myself in a better way. How I can live longer. But is it possible for us to live through eternity in this physical body? It's impossible. But we are chasing for it. Why? That entire biological evolution has happened because of that ignorance. The self got reflected in the body-mind complex, and that reflection is the ego, and that ego was echoing the assertion of the self through the body-mind complex and was deluded by that and was trying. It was a total false waste of energy, that because of ignorance, to realize eternity and fulfillment through the body-mind complex. Why it is a waste of energy? Because I'm already that. As the self, I'm already that. It is because of ignorance as I got associated with the body-mind complex, and I'm trying to realize what I'm already through the body-mind complex. Because of ignorance, I take the reflection to be real, and that ignorance has resulted in the entire biological evolution. So if we find in Vedanta, we do accept this evolution, which also speaks of the transmigration. That we are born after we die. Because we all want to enjoy, realize that eternity through this body-mind complex. Again and again we are trying. Through this process of transmigration is going on. And then as a human being, by coming in association with the Guru, for the first time we realize that it was all because of the ignorance. I'm already free. I am already the self, which doesn't need any prop for its sustenance. It is eternal by its own right. It is ever fulfilled by its own right. It exists alone, kaivalya, kevala, alone, without the need of help of anything else, because nothing else exists. It alone is the reality behind the entire existence. So when the disciple knows that, his sadhana, his practice is just to disassociate himself from the body-mind complex. So you'll find in all the religion, the first step of religion is nothing but renunciation. That viveka and followed by vairagya. That now I have understood that viveka, that I am the self, I am not this body-mind complex. This realization has dawned in me, and that resulted in the renunciation, and which ultimately takes me to that realization, ultimately, through my spiritual endeavor, by following the path instructed by the Guru, which we were studying in the previous classes. This constant contemplation of the self, resulting in the ultimate illumination. So, we will find that how the Guru's grace has helped him to again regain his lost glory. It was not actually lost. He just was forgetful about it. It was already with him. He was never in any way alienated from it. He was just forgetful about it. The Guru helped him to again get back his memory. If we find that wonderful parable which Sri Ramakrishna relates in the Gospel, that of the grass-eating tiger. That's what it speaks of the Guru's grace. That the tiger, when it was actually, the mother tiger was about to give birth to the baby. It was pregnant. And as this pregnant tiger pounced on a herd of sheep. And as it was pregnant, it was in the advanced stage of pregnancy, that stress it couldn't take. It gave birth, but in the process, the mother tiger died. Now this small cub, the sheep took it along with them. And the mother sheep was taking care of this cub of the tiger. But as it's the sheep, so it was taking care in the way of the sheep. It was feeding it with the grass, and when it started growing with the other sheep, it started bleating. It was eating grass. It was behaving just like the sheep. It forgot its real nature. It was always the tiger. It was never the sheep. But it, because of its association with the sheep, just the way because of our worldly association, here also the association with the sheep, it forgot its nature. And then again one tiger one day saw this grass-eating tiger in the flock of the sheep. And it attacked the flock. Its intention was not to pounce on any sheep, was to just to get hold of this grass-eating tiger. And it managed to get hold of it. And then it has told him that, why are you bleating like sheep? You are the tiger. But the tiger was so convinced that it is a sheep, it started bleating, thinking the tiger is now going to kill it. It's going to kill it. It has already is prey. It was bleating out of fear. And then this tiger again and again tried to assert that you are not the sheep, you are the tiger. It wasn't convinced. And then this tiger took the grass-eating tiger by the side of a reservoir, on the bank of the reservoir, and says, see that your face and my face, it's same. It's the same face, the same our physical demeanor, the muscular limbs you have, I also have the same. And then the tiger forced this flesh on the grass-eating tiger's mouth until eat it. For the first time it got the taste, as instinctually it has the taste for the flesh. It got the taste of the flesh. And this the tiger roared, and the grass-eating tiger also roared, as if saying, Aham Brahmasmi. That's the roar means of that. That Swamiji's, in the words of Swamiji, it is the roar of the lion of the Vedanta. So it roared. and it got established again in its real nature. It was always the tiger. It just forgot because of its association. So here also the same thing the Guru has done. It's not that he has delivered something which was not his. He was already the self. Only he was forgetful about it. So once he realized his real nature, now this cycle of avidya, kama, karma, from the ignorance, the desire arises. And from the desire, all the action arises. And this cycle drives us life after life through this process of birth and death. And that stops. So here in Vedanta, though we agree with the process of evolution, but the point of disagreement is that in biology the process of evolution is something linear. It goes on. But in Vedanta it is cyclic. We start from the self. Because of the ignorance, the biological evolution takes us to the process of transmigration, and then again when we get spiritually illumined, the cycle is complete. We again get established in the self. It's not linear, it's something circular. We start from the self, we again attain the self. So that's the idea which has been spoken of here when the Shishya, when the disciple is saying Vimukta aham bhavagrahat. This from this entanglement of the cycle of birth and death, you have saved me. So that's the main tenet of this sloka. So after that, what this disciple is saying Jale vapi sthale vapi luthatva esha jaratmaka naham vilipye tat dharme ghat dharme nabho yatha. So he's giving an example. Suppose there are two pots. There's one pot is very decorated and the other pot is just ordinary. It has no such decoration. So as the pot, there are two distinct pots. One is, it looks nice, it looks very sophisticated, the other looks ordinary. But when I break both the pots, the Ghatakasha becomes one with the Mahakasha. Is there any difference as per the Akasha, as per the space which is inside the ordinary the pot and the space which is in the decorative pot? No. So as per our attributes are concerned, there is all differences, but as per our real nature is concerned, we are all the same. And when that breaks, that the body falls off, I am again one with the Absolute. So now that there are so many rituals involved as per the final cremation of the body. So here the disciple, once he has gone to the realization, he is no more bothered about that. It's a very important thing. So that we are so much attached to the body that when we leave, we are taking care of it. We are trying to just live with it as long as possible. And after we die, we think that it should still be, that it should still go through certain process of this cremation or preservation. The entire Egyptian civilization is just to preserve the body. That in spite of the fact they have built such huge architecture, but what was the basic belief? That ignorance, that I live with the body. A man of realization now loses all attachment to the body. In the Egyptian culture, what was the belief? That we say, is very interesting, we say that the soul has departed, I have left my body. But in some other religions we find they say that the soul, we have left the soul has departed. That what's the idea? That I am the body, the soul has departed. And in some other religion, the body is very important. It is considered that in Egyptian culture, why the body was preserved? The idea was that after death, that we have a second existence. Our spiritual existence is just the projection of our physical existence. If our physical body is harmed, our spiritual body is harmed. If I kill this body, then my spiritual existence also will be annihilated. So that's why it was preserved. It was preserved that as long as the body is there, the spirit also continues to exist. But here in Vedanta we find that once I go to the realization, that idea that I am this body-mind complex has fallen off. I have nothing to do with that. I am the spirit. So the question, what happens to the body, no more disturbs me, no more perturbs me. That's being mentioned in the 509th verse. What is saying? Jale vapi, sthale vapi, luthatya, esha jaratmaka. Let this inert body drop down in water, jale vapi, sthale vapi, or on land. I am not touched by its properties. Luthatva esha, this jaratmaka. Nahang vilipye tat dharmai, ghata dharmai nabho yatha. So it is just I am not touched by this body's properties, just the way, like the sky. The sky is in no way affected by the properties of the jar. So whether a jar is strong or decorative or old and damaged, it doesn't affect the space within. When the jar breaks, it is the same space inside and outside. So I am that self. So it's very interesting, this idea that the self is something which has nothing to do with the body. The body is just like a garment which has to be thrown out when it is old and damaged. It is decaying. As in the Gita, that idea we find. This idea is there even in some old literature in other cultures too. There's a wonderful dialogue of this Crito, a wealthy friend of Socrates. When it was already decided that Socrates will be sentenced to death, has been by drinking that poison, that he has been sentenced to death, and his wealthy friend Crito comes and asks him that how you want to be cremated. He asks for the instructions about how to bury him. And we find a wonderful answer that what Socrates says, any way you like. He replies with a laugh, and then, if you can catch me. Any way you like, if you can catch me. So that's the thing. The self that doesn't in any way can be regulated by the norms of the society. It's free. Nothing can burn it, nothing can dry it, as in the Gita it has been mentioned. So that's the idea. If you can catch me. You are just burying my body and bury it according to the customary rites. So I have nothing to say about it. So the same idea. Jale vapi, sthale vapi, lusatya, esha jaratmaka. After all, it is just inert matter. Nahang vilipye. That I don't get in any way disintegrated. Tad dharmai, ghata dharmai nabho yatha. I am not touched by its properties. I am in no way affected by its properties, by its property. Just like the sky is not affected by the properties of the jar. So this is the idea. Once you go to the realization, the first thing happens that there is no more fear of death, because you know that there is no death for you. You have that eternal existence. The body falls off, and whatever the body you have to do, you do, because after it is jada. It doesn't affect the real me. So that's the realization which we find the disciple is having after his spiritual illumination. And then what he's saying, Mahaswapne, Mayakrita Jani Jara Mrityu Gahane, Brahmantam, Klishyantam, Vahulatara Tapai Anudinam, Ahankara Vyagra Vyathita Imam Atyanta Kripaya, Probadhya, Praswapat Param Atitavan, Mam Asi Guru. O Master, Guru is addressing the teacher. O Master, you out of sheer grace, Atyanta Kripaya, it was just sheer grace, Atyanta Kripaya, awakened me from this sleep. So this is very interesting, that nothing has really affected me. In a sleep I was having a nightmare. all this process of life and death, for so many lives and deaths, I was going through this process of transmigration. When I go to the realization, I find it was just a nightmare, a dream. In the dream, it may so happen, many years have passed, I will see. I was a small child, I have grown. And when I wake up, I find, it was just within these 2-3 hours all this happened. So this such a long succession of birth and death, it was as if like for such a long chain of this transmigration was going on for such a long period. It appears just as something insignificant as in the dream. So the Guru, what has done, he has just awakened me from this dream, from this long dream, awakened me from my sleep. Prabodhya praswapat. I was prakrishta rupena swapat. Swapat means I was in the state of swapna, dreaming. Prabodhya, he has woke me up. This praswapat param, he has awakened me from the sleep. So he has awakened me, and then he has completely saved me. Atitavan mam asmi. Avitavan. Avitavan means avitavan. So this Vita means past tense. When I am going through this process of transmigration, there is a question of time, that I was in past birth such and such, again I took birth. So that past birth is Vita, it has a past. So there is a question of time, sequence it was going through. When I go to the realization, I find I become these terms are so important, avitavan. There is no question of time. I am in the eternal present. Nothing has passed. I am as I am. Because as there is no transformation, the Shada Vikara, which we see in any physical existence, doesn't in any way apply to the self, the ultimate reality. So when there is no transformation, there is no transmigration, there is no question of time. So I become something like an Purana Purusa, Pura api navaiva, ever aging, never old. So there is no question of past. Avitavan. So one speaks that something which is a characteristic of mine. Valavan, that I have strength. Dhanavan, I have wealth. Avita, that avitavan, what it means? That I am for whom there is nothing past. Because I am in the eternal present. And that's what I have realized. Avitaman amamasi. And I was previously wondering, when I was in the dream, there was a question of phase. So when I wake up from the dream, I find, that I'm the same person who was before the dream. There is no change in that. When I went to sleep, when I woke up, is the same person. But in the dream, I went through such a long phase. So when I was wandering in the dream, so who was wandering in an unending dream, Mahaswapne, in the forest of birth, decay and death, all this process of being born and then going through the process of Jara, Vyadhi, Mrityu. We are born, then after some time, that's the Shada Vikara has been spoken of by this birth, decay and death. All these have been covered by these three. This Jayate, Asti, Vardhate, Viparinamate, Apakshiyate, Nasti. That we all go through this process. We are born, we exist for a certain period of time. Initially we grow, Vardhate, and then transformation starts in the middle age, Viparinamate, and then Apakshiyate, the process of decay start, and then death, Nasti, exists. There's a death. So we were going through this cycle again and again. This forest of birth, decay and death. And this all was created by illusion. Just the way in the dream the illusion creates the sequence of so many events. Here also the sequence of birth and death was created by this illusion. Maya krita jani jara mrityu. This death, again a birth, again and again I go for this, again I die, decay, death. This was all Maya krita. This was all the product of Maya. So it was not real. Maya. Ya means yatha yatha. Maya is a negation of that. That what I was seeing because of illusion was not yatha yatha. At that time I thought that it is real. But when my delusion breaks, I have the spiritual awakening, then I know it was a long dream. I was not seeing the thing as it is. What is the thing as it is? The self alone, which is beyond the phase of any time. It is in the eternal presence. But because of that Maya, I was seeing all these hallucinations. Maya krita jani jara mrityu gahane. And as a result, I was tormented, being tormented day after day by countless afflictions. Bahulatara tapai anudina. And sorely troubled by the tiger of egoism. And it all started with that egoism. That's the tiger, which is like the predator. It is predating upon this my delusion, life after life. So that's the origin from where all these delusions start. So that's the tiger, that's ahankara. So this, I was sorely troubled by this tiger of egoism. And you have helped me to come out of that. And this, my process of this transmigration has stopped. So when we are in sleep, in the grip of a dreadful nightmare, someone comes and gently awakens us, and the dream vanishes. That's what the Guru has done. He has, by his gentle touch, by his kripa, he has awakened me, nothing else. This terrible dream which was not enabling me to realize my infinite nature, when the dream broke, I realized that. And that's the love of the Guru. So he does it. And why he does it? Just out of this pure compassion. Unbounded compassion. He has nothing to. Unconditional. His compassion is unconditional. He doesn't have any expectation. Only out of sheer compassion, love, he is there to help us out from this delusion, from this quagmire of ignorance. So after this, after the disciple shows gratitude to the Guru will again give some final instructions. Before we come to the conclusion of this Vivekachudamani, the Guru will give some final instructions to the disciple that we will start discussing again in the next class. So with this, we stop our discussion today. Thank you all. Namaskar.